Hello, you are tuning into Media Soundwave. My name is Heather Cassidy and today we are joined by Ali Crawford and Matt Kay, and they're the directors over at a great new club over in Wilmslow and Bakewell. And are you opening up in Manchester soon?
We are.
Yep, so we've got one opening in between May and June this year, hopefully, fingers crossed, but it's in the pipeline at the moment to be our third site near Oxford Road.
So, for people that don't know about Fitism, today we're going to be talking about, I want to get to the bottom of how to strip body fat. I had a very heavy Christmas, and I don't mean with booze. I attacked the mince pies like something rotten, and it has not done me any good. Also, I'm a vegetarian now, which I've got my cap on, and I keep telling everybody about it like it's in the guidebook you have to do. But since then, I keep eating carbs. I am like a carb fiend, and I am piling on the weight, and I need to make sure, I'm going to come and see you guys anyway, but I'm going to make sure I strip the fat down and not just do a bit of getting bored on the treadmill, because I don't have the attention span for it, and I definitely don't want to go the following day and do the same. So can you tell us a bit more about the history of Fitism and what you guys do, and then let me get my question answered. I want to know how to strip body fat. So who's gonna start? Tell me about Fitism.
So Fitism, as you've said, we've got two sites at the moment, one in Wilmslow and one in Bakewell in Derbyshire, which was our original site. And it all stemmed really from Matt, to be honest, who's been a personal trainer for the best part of 15 years now, and had kind of a brainchild in that he wanted to create a better environment for people to train and actually enjoy it, and also get some really good knowledge and results to kind of go forward and put into everyday life without it being too kind of extreme and strict and regimented, I suppose, and boring, like you said, jumping on a treadmill.
I get so bored in the gym.
So many people do, and they come to us and they've done the same thing for so many years.
My hips expand.
Yeah, and it's actually the wrong type of exercise, and Matt will explain a bit more about that in a moment. But in terms of our philosophy, it's about kind of getting people in and working with them as an individual to really encourage them to eat well, live well, train hard, but also enjoy life at the same time as well.
Now, I've been over to your facilities over in Wilmslow and had a little look round, and you have classes like HIIT and you have boxercise kind of classes. You don't have your treadmills and things like that. Can you tell me a bit more about the way that you guys do teach people to train?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like Alex said, it's evolved massively over the years, like hugely. So we essentially, our average client comes in to drop body fat and to increase lean muscle tissue, or in the basic sense, get in good shape.
Getting shorts for summer.
That's it, getting shorts for summer. But essentially, they need to do a mix of strength training, progressed over a period of time, and it's important that that's suitable for them. And they also need to do an element of cardio, and that could be a mixture of high intensity cardio, and we do different types of HIIT classes through boxing, through cycling, so a range of different HIIT classes to kind of tackle the cardio side of things. Having said that, the walking and steady state is actually a term that is really trending at the minute, which is the low intensity state cardio.
So
it's
your
got a
HIIT,
place.
for anybody that doesn't know what it is high intensity interval training. Did I get that
That's
right?
it, yeah.
I know I
Yeah.
like the classes.
Yeah.
I turn up and I do that kind of thing, and I find that works best for me because they're not long. Mm-hmm. They don't take too many hours out of your day. As a businesswoman, you don't have that much free time. As a parent, you don't have that much free time, but you want to get fit as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, is that the way that you would suggest going about that then, through HIIT, or?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it gets you fit and it gets you in shape quickly. It's quite a generalised way of getting in shape, and there's more of a systematic approach. But for sure, HIIT is a
Plays
really
a part.
it plays a big part. Yeah,
I think for everyday life as well, it's really important. Like you said, for
quick,
busy
isn't it?
people,
Quick.
we run HIIT classes 7 in the morning for people who are going to work, after school drop off, before school pick up, and then in the evening for people who are coming home from work, and just regiment it throughout the day like that, so that everybody can do it. It's half an hour, and I kind of defy anyone not to be able to get half an hour at least every couple of days, if not every day, into their busy schedule, because we work, early hours, late nights, and we still manage to squeeze it in occasionally.
So what would you say, obviously you were just mentioning then low intensity training,
Mm-hmm.
so where does that have a place then?
So in terms of the whole weight loss conundrum, or the equation of weight loss, I guess, there is like a hierarchy of what you need to focus on, I guess, to get to strip down body fat and get in shape for summer. So I guess where that low intensity state cardio fits in is a little bit higher up. So number one is like your adherence, your behaviours and adherence. So will you actually follow a programme? That's number one.
Will
number
you behave?
2, that's it.
Will you leave the mince pies alone?
That's it, yeah. And if you won't, that's fine. We're just going to fit it into the correct approach for you. And there's a way of
Put
doing
another
that.
half an hour extra class in.
That's it, yeah, just like hammer it harder. But number 2 is nutrition. Like even before you go to that steady state, food is absolutely fundamental, and there's different ways you can tackle food, again, based on different people's mindsets. And then the exercise side of things, you can split it into 3. So you have strength training, you have your high intensity cardio, and then you have the low intensity cardio that fits in there as well in different phases.
So I'm going to come to you guys, and I'm going to hold my hands up and go, look, I do need to strip body fat. This is why we've got you green. I want to know information, and I know that people watching and listening in will also want to know the same ready for summer. So we're coming to you now and we're saying, look, I want to strip body fat. You've mentioned these things, but what is the order and what is the plan and what have we got to do?
If you give me 90 days...
90 days?
Yeah, that'll be the best time. I'll get a decent amount of time to get in good
What
shape.
can you do to me in 90 days? what can be done?
It all depends on your mindset, like Matt said. If you're coming,
Tape.
if you're coming saying,
Tape around the mouth.
I'm going to do absolutely everything you say, then we will get a body transformation. We promise that to our clients in 90 days.
You can get a full body transformation in 90 days.
Yeah, you can. I mean, we split the year into 4 lots of 90 days, get my maths right. But there's effectively, if you have a 90-day period, you can spend a part of that period putting lean muscle tissue on.
Okay.
And then you can have a section of that period transitioning then to dropping a lot of body fat to then reveal your shape.
So it's not done overnight, and it is gradual steps, and you're not doing the same every day to get that result. Because obviously it does get boring, doesn't it?
Yeah,
you can get used to things and you're like, I like this and I can do it, but obviously then your body's going to get used to it.
Yeah, well, there's 2 components there. Your body gets used to it, and mentally you've got to switch on all the time. So if something's really making you bored, I could give you the most perfectly formatted exercise program in the world, but if you don't want to do it because you're bored, it's not the right program for you.
It's not the right
So
program.
you've got to switch it up and change it for your individual.
So you start with lean then?
So we actually start with a process called shape.
Okay.
So we start with a process called shape because it's impossible to develop lean muscle tissue and drop body fat at the same time. So we actually start with a process called shape, and our second process is then called condition, and our last process is called lean, and they all last between 4 and 5 weeks.
And what's the difference then? What kind of different exercises do you do at those different stages?
So I guess a really important topic and a point that a lot of females are scared of is lifting heavy weights.
I like weights.
Oh, do you?
See,
That's
I'm
okay.
all right.
That's
I don't
all right.
like a treadmill. I don't like getting bored. To stand on a treadmill and walk for half an hour, I'm going to be clock watching. I'm going to want to take my iPad and watch Netflix, and I'm going to want to get out about the 13-minute mark because there's no way I can get to 15. I'm just going to be, no, this is wasting my time. I've got too much to do.
Yeah.
I'm not meant to be here.
I think a lot of women that once they've done weight training do love it because they see the benefits, and B, they have that kind of response to it, and I can actually get good work. It's not that boring.
No, you can be
Like,
interested. Yeah.
Matt's right in that a lot of people come to us who have never done it, and they are a bit scared of it. I
Yeah, a bit
suppose.
scared.
They have the
Yeah.
myths of they're going to get bulky from it, and Matt's going to explain that they're not going to get bulky.
So that is the shape phase. They literally lift big weights and they try and put on lean muscle tissue. And when I say lean muscle tissue, we deliberately use the word lean and toning to make it friendly, but essentially what you're doing is putting lean muscle tissue on. And that creates the shapes, the little caps on the shoulders, the shape in the hips, gives you the abs. It's really important that the muscle tissue is built and developed. But that takes a certain weight. You have to eat to fuel that, and you have to train to fuel that response.
So we've got these 90 days going on. How many cheat days can you have in this 90 days? I'm going to ask the question we all want to know.
Yeah.
Can I eat crisps? And if so, when?
So the answer to that is directly yes.
I can eat crisps.
Yeah, you can eat it. You can eat everything you want as long as you measure it. So it depends what you're willing to do. So if you're willing to measure, and the number one factor is calories. So essentially, if you're trying to strip body fat, you have to be in a deficit, which means eating below what you need to operate in a day. And
you work this out for people, it's easy enough to work out how many calories you're meant to be eating.
Really simple. I mean, when you initially track it, it's a bit cumbersome, you've got to track it things, but once you've done it for a few days, you kind of figure out what it looks like, and then you don't need to track it anymore, you kind of just put it to one side.
But then at the different stages, so obviously you've said that within those 90 days, we break it down into 3 different categories because you can't do all the different things to your body at once. You need to do one bit to then do the next bit to do the next. It's a process.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So obviously, does your diet change within those process to match the exercise, or does your diet will teach you how to eat well, and then you kind of keep it along the same lines? How does it work?
I mean, we're big believers in long-term approaches, aren't we?
Yeah.
We want to adopt approaches for the long haul, and we give you the tools to be able to strip down different phases. To answer your question directly, though, yes, it changes massively. So the way that you eat in different phases changes.
Okay.
In
but
terms
the foods
of
don't necessarily.
yeah, exactly.
The actual foods you're eating is more like Matt was saying, the measuring and.
And do you work closely with people on that? Because
Yeah,
I think
me
if
too,
you've
yeah.
got a plan and you know what you're going to eat every single day of the week, it kind of makes it easier. It makes it easier when you go shopping that you know only to put certain things in.
Yeah.
And you don't walk around without a list and go, actually, throw that in. I'll
Yeah.
have some muffins that are on offer. That's my problem, is when I don't make a list with what I'm doing. But also knowing what to eat, I think that's such a thing. And also if you've been doing certain stages, you're like, well, actually, if I have a smoothie here or if I have avocado here, but I suppose if each stage is different, it's knowing, isn't it?
But also keeping it simple is so important. So I mean, I think one of the problems actually with a lot of the Instagram images, you see these perfect like smoothie bowls and various other things.
They're very fattening, aren't they?
They can
smoothie
be all high in
bowls.
sugar. Yeah, they can be.
I always thought they look really pretty, but they're not very good for me.
Yeah, some are. It depends how it fits really, which approach. But again, that can be made very, very simple. But
So to strip body fat, which is today's topic, what would you say is a perfect breakfast, lunch and dinner for somebody that's a meat eater, breakfast, lunch and dinner for someone that's a vegetarian, but also on the other point of it, are we doing 3 meals a day or is it little and often? What are your suggestions with regards to nutrition?
Again, it depends on the individual, but I'll give you direct answers.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
I'm always straight to the point.
Yes,
Always straight to the point.
So if, for argument's sake, we know exactly what your profile is, so we know you need to eat, for example, 2,000 calories. That gets you in a deficit that we want. So that's what we're targeting. We know your splits of proteins, fats, and carbs. We know exactly what that may be. We know within the day we need to get that in. So if that means that, say for example, everyone says breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Do you agree with that?
No.
I've seen different reports.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. So no, if you're looking at purely the science of thermogenics, so the science of calories in, calories, no, it doesn't matter. You can just shift that throughout the day. However, if someone's waking up in the morning and then going to the gym, they're feeling lightheaded, then yeah, breakfast is really important. You need to get some nutrients in there, build your blood sugar levels back up. However, some people train fasted, they're absolutely fine. So you've got to treat the individual. But ultimately, when it comes to stripping down body fat, you're still just going to make sure that calorie deficit is achieved in the day. And you need to make sure that your balance of carbs, fats and proteins are balanced throughout the day, which is easy to do once you know the methods.
Okay, perfect. So any other tips for people wanting to get fit for summer then? So we've covered there's 3 stages. Don't try and do it all at once. Look very carefully at your diet. Make sure that you're bringing it under the deficit for your calories. What are your other tips then for stripping body fat? What have we missed? Anything?
I think that personally the most important is probably the mindset, isn't it? It's getting it, it's doing something you enjoy.
I think the mindset is the number one thing, but also recognising what your individual mindset is. So obviously Matt's spoken a lot there about the science behind a lot of stuff, and I'm much more of a simple as you because I don't have that knowledge of it as much as Matt does. And I think the number one thing I would say to the masses is work out what you're willing to do to get into that body shape and where you want to get to. So it might be a really good first step is simply knowing what foods are good for you. So it might not need to necessarily worry about your exact calories to start with, because if you're going from a diet of like you have mince pies and things over Christmas, it will simply be changing that to having.
Am I like the flagpole of what do not eat? Let's write down everything she eats. Heather, give us an example of your diet for the week, and we'll say this is not what you do.
So the first step was simply be like,
Benchmark.
okay, changing that to eating, eggs, eating some chicken, eating some, really good vegetables, all that kind of thing is the first step, and then working out exactly how far you want to take it. So if you're someone who's into kind of really wanting to strip body fat for a goal in 90 days, then you do need to start looking at your macros and what have you, looking at calories.
So how do macros work? Because obviously I know that people that are doing serious weight training and training for competitions, you see people counting macros. But how do they work?
So they...
and are they important on a 90-day plan?
Yeah, they are important, but there's different ways to measure it. So you see all these people measuring it, weighing it out, measuring it all and so on, but you can use, for example, you can use your hand. You can say that, you can use that for your carbohydrate, you can use the palm of your hand for your proteins and your fats. You can measure it out like that, but in terms of what they are, I guess to answer that question, they are macronutrients, your carbohydrates, your proteins and your fats, and you need a balance of those throughout the day. And then you have something called micronutrients, which are your vitamins and minerals. So that's what those two terms mean.
So if people are trying to strip body fat, what kind of supplements and things like that do they need?
They don't need any supplements.
Oh, okay.
But there are...
That's a surprising answer.
Yeah, but they do, in terms of like a fat loss hierarchy or a weight loss hierarchy, they'll probably sit around about 8 or 9 on the hierarchy. So they play a role, but they don't play a major role.
Okay.
So once you've got everything else right, then supplements can really accelerate things. So yeah, in terms of the, I guess, more research-backed supplements, there's a lot of research to back the benefits of whey protein, for example, as a protein source before and after training, and even in the day.
And you put that into a smoothie?
Yes, put it into a smoothie.
So you'd make either like a fruit or a vegetable smoothie, and you'd put something like whey powder in it?
Yeah, you
You
can.
don't have to, you
Also-
can just with water, but we do, where it fits them, we put them in smoothies because that's what appeals to a lot of our clients as well, and also it helps them get other nutrients in at the same time.
At what part of a day would you have a smoothie? Would you have it for breakfast or lunch? When would you recommend those kind of smoothies?
Yeah, it's quite good to.
I know you have a smoothie bar, you see, so I know you have the
Yeah.
information on this.
So we offer them straight after training. However, there's a lot of evidence to suggest there's no real difference in your ability to drop body fat or the response to training if you take whey protein 2 hours before or 2 hours after. There's no. There used to be this 20-minute window of opportunity, but that's evolved a little bit.
I was going to say, what about men and women? Does it differ for people, whether they're a man or a woman, whether they should be eating before or after training? Because there's all these myths, isn't there?
Yeah, sure. There's something, again, delving slightly into the science. So there's something called MPS, muscle protein synthesis, that you have to achieve after training. Now, to maximise that, you need to make sure that you're hitting your protein values for the day, and you have adequate amounts of protein 2 hours before and 2 hours after training. Now, the amount of protein is different for males and females purely because of their weight. So depending on how heavy you are, determines how many proteins you should have in the day. So I guess it's not necessarily a gender thing, it's more of a weight thing.
Okay, brilliant. It'd be really good to get a couple of different smoothie recipes if you've got any good ones off you guys, and I'll put it onto a blog post on our site.
Yeah.
But no, that's brilliant. So 90 days, get yourself in the mindset, make sure you're looking at nutrition and speaking to somebody about nutrition, making sure you're not doing the same for 90 days, but actually trying to exercise every day, would you say, within that time?
Not necessarily every day. I think it's important to have rest periods for sure.
Okay, how many rest periods in a week would you recommend?
We would probably recommend to our clients who are kind of the Joe public, 2 rest days a week would be a good amount to rest. It totally depends on how seriously you're going at it.
And does that matter whether it's like 2 days on, 1 day off, or you could do like Monday to Friday every day and then have a full weekend off? What would you recommend?
Probably a sensible way would be the 2 days on, 1 day off. Some people split in different ways. 2 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off, 2 days on. That's quite a good
So try and
pattern.
break it up and make sure that your muscles have got time to repair during those times.
Ideally, yes, but again, it's a case of looking at you as an individual and working out life has to go on. You can't drop everything to do this. Like, that's what people need to realise. Especially for the clients we work with, it's normal life, so they need to, if they can only
if you
exercise
don't balance,
in
you
the
give
week,
it up, don't you? Because you're like,
Exactly.
something's got to give.
And like Matt said, we're about the long term. You can do these quick diets, quick fixes, and they all work to a point, but you never then keep it going for a long
What
period.
about the myths of like leg day? So obviously if you were to just do HIIT 5 times a week and any other classes that you guys might recommend, but then are you doing legs 1 day, arms another, full body another? What is the best thing within these 90 days to go, okay, am I doing arms, or is it just generally everything? What do you think?
If you're new to exercise, you can pretty much do anything. It's like a honeymoon period. So if you're really new to it, you can do pretty much anything and you'll get in really good shape. If you've been training for 6 months or more, though, there is relevance in training legs, train chest, train back. It is relevant.
So would you concentrate on one area per day?
If you want to really shape up a certain area, you can. But again, it comes back to
if you've got specific goals, or
Exactly.
whether you
Yeah,
just want
exactly,
to
yeah.
strip fat completely.
It's hard to be generic because obviously everyone is different. But yeah, I mean, it's great to focus on those. And I think for me, again, keep it really simple, is if you train legs 1 day, that means that you can go really hard on the legs in terms of how hard you want to push it. And then the next day, you don't have to do legs. So it's quite a nice feeling thinking, okay, I've got a couple of days off now.
Have you got any tips for recovery?
hot, cold showers. They're always pretty
Cold?
good.
Cold?
Hot, yeah, mix between hot and cold.
A hot and cold shower. So what? Blast yourself with the hot,
Exactly.
blast
Yeah,
yourself with the cold.
That's quite a good way. Just helps.
That's a bit mean. That.
Yeah, does
It is me.
But it helps
brutal.
with recovery when you're achy. Because sometimes you can do a HIIT class, I know myself, and then the next day you'll be like, I can't even get
Especially
down
when
the
you-
stairs.
especially when you're
I
new to
can't get
exercise,
in the
yeah.
car. I need to like try and get
Yeah.
lynched in.
And it can put people off that. Like we're really conscious of it because obviously if you've never done exercise or new to it or coming back to it, the first couple of sessions can make you not be able to walk properly for like 3 or 4
Yeah.
days. And you don't want that for some people because
So
they're
hot
not
and
used to
cold
it.
showers. Any other tips for recovery?
You need to feed that recovery. So the muscles need the nutrients to be able to repair. So hydrate, eat correctly. And
How
you'll
much
recover.
water would you suggest drinking for people that are training to strip body fat?
Water's important. Do you know there's different theories? If not to be too crude, but if it's clear, you're probably doing okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, general rules around about 2 litres, but then if you've got we've got a chap in the gym, 6'7", 150 kilos.
He's going to need a lot more water than I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
and even more when you're exercising as well. So obviously you're
I drink
dehydrating.
loads of water if I do actually exercise.
And if you have things like
good.
caffeine and alcohol, they're dehydrating. So.
And they're taken away, and then you need to put more
Exactly.
in. Thank you very much for joining us today and teaching us about how to strip down body fat. Hopefully you at home may have been inspired. I do need to get myself in the gym, so check back with me in the next couple of weeks and see if I've actually done anything about it. You can actually hold me to account for it. So if you head over to our website, www.mediasoundwave.co.uk, you'll find some more information about these guys on the Meet the Experts section of the website. Hopefully, as I said, we've inspired you to do something about your health if you're as unhealthy as me. See you all again soon here on Media Soundwave.